The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Once there were 4 children whose names were Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy. This story is about something that happened to them when they were sent away from London during the war because they had race. They were sent to the house of an old professor who lived in the heart of the country, 10 miles from the nearest railway station, 2 miles from the nearest post office. He had no wife and lived in a very large house with a housekeeper and 3 servants. He himself was a very tall man with shaggy white hair, which grew over most of his face as well as on his head, and they liked him almost at once. From the first evening when he came out to meet them at the front door, he was so old-looking that Lucy was a little afraid of him, and Edmund wanted to laugh and then to keep on pretending he was blowing his nose to hide it. As soon as they had said good night to the professor and gone upstairs on the first night, the boys came to the girls' room and they all talked it over. We have fallen on our feet and no mistake, said Peter. This is going to be perfect, splendid. That old chap will let us do anything we like. They had just finished their breakfast with the professor and were upstairs in the room he had set apart for them, a long room with 2 windows looking out in one direction to in another. Just a grumbling head, said Susan, 10 to 1. It'll clear up an hour or so. And in the meantime, we're pretty well off. There's a wireless and lots of books. No, for me, said Peter. I'm going to explore in the house. Everyone agreed to this, and that was how the adventure began. They looked in the room was quite empty except for one big wardrobe. They saw that there's a looking glass in the door. There was nothing else in the room at all except a dead blue bottle on the windowsill. Nothing there, said Peter, and they all trooped out again, all except Lucy. She sits behind because she thought it would be worthwhile trying the door of the wardrobe, even though she felt almost sure that it would be locked. To her surprise, it opened it quite easily, and 2 mothballs dropped out. Looking into the inside, they saw several coats hanging up, most along fur coats. Then she noticed that there was something crunching under her feet. I wonder, is that more mothballs? She thought, stooping down to feel it with her hand, but instead of feeling the hard smooth wood on the floor of the wardrobe, she felt something soft, important, extremely cold. This is very queer, she said, and went on a step or two farther. Next moment she found that what was rubbing against her face and then was no longer soft for but something hard and rough, and even prickly. Why, it's just like branches of trees, exclaimed Lucy. And then she saw that there was a light ahead of her, not inches away where the back of the wardrobe ought to have been, but a long way off. Something cold and soft was falling on air. A moment later, she found that she was standing in the middle of a wood at night time, with no one under her feet, snowflakes falling through the air. Lucy felt a little frightened, but she felt very inquisitive and excited as well. And soon after that, a very strange person stepped out from among the trees into the light of the lamp-post. He was only a little taller than Lucy herself, and he carried over his head an umbrella white with snow. From the waist up, it was like a man, but his legs were shaped like goats, and his head or feet he had goat's hooves. He also the tail, but Lucy did not notice this at first because it was nearly caught up over the arm that the old umbrella so as to keep it from trailing in the snow. He had a strange but pleasant little face with short pointed beard and curly hair. And out of the hair there stuck two oars, one on each side of his forehead. One of his hands, as I said, held the umbrella. In the other arm he carried several brown paper parcels. It was a phone, and when he saw Lucy he gave such a start of surprise that he dropped all his parcels. "Goodness gracious, miss!" exclaimed the fawn.